Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another live show. Coming to you live from the little studio here. Good to have you watching along from wherever you are watching. I was just showing on the map there, as we like to do now at the start of the show, where people are watching from. Maybe I can bring that back up again and take a look at any more coming in here. But if you are in the chat and you want to say hello from a particular place, then we can show it on the map. And the plan is to talk a little bit about this feature actually as the day goes on, because that is one of the new features in H2R Graphics. It is the new map graphic. Other than that, we'll chat about some test patterns and video pattern things I was creating last weekend. And I'll also take some questions if you have them on anything that is on your mind, whether it's the new ATEM Television Studio HD8, which we talked about on the stream last week, but if there's anything else that comes up, we can chat about that as well. And other production-related live streaming gear and all that stuff. Whatever you want to chit-chat about, we can chat about. I think I'm still a little bit quiet today, so I'll just give things a little bit more of a bump, and you can tell me if you can hear and see me just fine in the live chat. Let's see. Hello from all over the place. I appreciate you being here. Nice. And I think that many of the pins showed up and worked just fine, which is always good to see. It's still, I would say, pretty early days on the map tool, so I'm interested in stress testing it a little bit more and making sure I can parse out all the locations from the map. So let's get into that. Let's talk about the map in general, how it works in the new version of H2R Graphics. Now, as always, you can head over to the site and, not that one, this one, and go to H2R.graphics. And I do link it on underneath a lot of my videos. I believe I did it underneath this one as well. And you can download the latest version. And the map graphic is the #1 new feature in this version for sure. It works just like, well, actually it doesn't work just like other graphics. It's a little bit different from other graphics, but you can add a map graphic to your production, and I have one added to mine already, so I'll just skip that. And there's sort of two parts to it: the map graphic itself, and then the data that you want to feed into that map graphic. And the data comes from your social sources. So, for example, on the right-hand side here, I have my social tab open from H2R Graphics, and you can see, of course, all of your chat messages coming in from all over the place, which is always good. And I can just show the map graphic on my output. And then whenever I click on any of these graphics that has a location in it, it will show up in as a social comment, just like before, of course. Let me just turn off my graphics real quick just to show this off in the background. So if I show my map graphic, which is just come on screen here, and then I click on any of these, it will show that graphic. Let me just show my graphics again. And a little pin gets added to the map. So what's happening in the background here is when you show that graphic and click on a social comment like that, it will look through the text in the comment and it will try to pull a location from that text. And this is why I talked about wanting to stress test it even more as the days and weeks goes on. It's because it is trying to find that location based on what the person has typed in their message. It's not taking location data from the person's IP address, or it's not taking anything like that. It's purely grabbing hold of what they're actually typing in the message and then and adding a pin as best it can based on that. So there are a few little quirks here and there, of course, as there always are whenever things have not been like spent and sent out over time and tested by lots of ways people may write sentences. So it's interesting to see which ones do and don't work. I'm happy to have you throw in some weird sentences with locations in them, and we can see if they work as the time goes on. And then I'll make a note after the live stream of any that didn't work, and I can manually update the next version of H2R Graphics to include as many location sentences as people can as people can form. A few that I've listed already on my to-do list of ways that people have written locations where it's never not quite working. And in the pre-show we were just chatting there, and Phil, one of the members, mentioned that people like to use short codes like airport codes, and it doesn't always grab a hold of those because it doesn't necessarily know that that's definitely a location that someone's saying. So more to come on the map function, and if you have any specific questions on that, then I can get to them. In fact, I have a special helper, as I tend to have now. My wife Sani is here to ask me the questions. So we have a mic here. We didn't test this though properly before the show, so we'll see how this goes. And any questions for me?
Hello. Yes, we do have a question from It Never Gets Old.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Greeting, John. Can you isolate the locale region you are showing on the map? I mean, in case your audience is primarily local, do you have to show the whole entire planet?"
Okay, good question. Funny you said it never gets old, and I always read that as IT never gets old, but I don't know.
I guess it is IT.
I don't know if it actually is. IT never gets old.
I think it is IT.
Oh yeah, it is. It's capital IT.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just realized that maybe I've been saying it differently the whole time. Anyway, let me get to the question. Good question though. Can you isolate the locale region? Yes, you can do that. So because of how I'm showing the graphics here, I need to go to my other computer and in fact, no, I'll skip that. I'll stick to the computer I'm on here. So if I open up my graphics, I'll just do it behind the scenes here, and then I'll cut to it when I have it ready. Excellent, now I have it ready. So this one, I'll make it nice and big so we can definitely see here. So I've just loaded in this output, opened it up on my computer that's running H2R Graphics just to make the demo here. And what's happening in this case is it's auto locating in this area. If I made this full screen, it actually is a bigger map like that. I've kind of optimized the map for 1080p, so that's why whenever you open an output in a small window, it does look quite zoomed in. Anyway, one of the settings in the map feature here, if I just jump in and edit that, is this ability. In fact, I should probably zoom into that so you can see it quite clearly. But you have this interactability on and off functionality of the map. So if I turn that on, now over on the map, I can actually scroll around and move into a specific location. So if you're showing this output on some piece of software that lets you interact with browser overlays, then you can definitely do that. And this is how I would recommend that you do it. So let's say you're making a live stream and you expect everyone who's watching to be watching from Denmark. Then just with your mouse and keyboard and clicking around here, you can scroll in and see just Denmark, and then keep that as the zoomed in location. So you don't always have to show the entire planet or a specific region, or even, of course, in this view that I've defaulted to, which puts sort of France right in the middle of and Europe right in the middle. You can, of course, move things around and place it as you wish, or head down to Australia here. If that's where you're streaming from, then you just want to show that, then you can do that. So it is possible, definitely, to specifically highlight a region. Oh, whoops. Let me get rid of that graphic off of the show. Goodbye, pins. I hope that answers your question. Let me see here. Any more questions coming in related to this stuff? Honey.
Yes, there's one from Cosma.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, John. Great featured mapping from chat. Is it possible to pull messages also from Teams chat or any other platform, Zoom, etc.?
Good question. So within H2R Graphics, it's not currently possible to pull anything but YouTube comments by default. So I have set it up specifically right now to be tied in with YouTube live chat. Though there is a way to show comments from other sources, which if I head over to, in the previous version of H2R Graphics, I added support for this thing called socialstream.ninja. And what this lets you do is pull chat comments from a whole lot more sources than I have currently supported, and probably will ever support in H2R Graphics, since all of these work so nicely with all of these tools. What the developer here, Steve, and I suppose he's had some help along the way, but what he's done is add support for loads of different services. Teams, being one of those. It's on here somewhere, I'm sure of that. But more services than I've ever even heard of. So what you can do is use that. And then over on the documentation of H2R Graphics, I have added, it's quite slow today, but I've added a little help guide to explain how this actually works through socialstream.ninja. So you can check that out. And then from there, you can grab comments from Teams chat, which will fill into the social section of H2R Graphics here. And once you have those comments in the social tab of H2R Graphics, then you're good to go. You can click on them and show them on the map. It'll do its best, just like before, of extracting location based on the text within the chat message, and then it will show it on a little pin on the map. So all the rest of the process is basically the exact same. It's just getting the data into H2R Graphics, which is a bit of work. Although one other option, of course, is if I show the H2R Graphics again here, I still have this add comment option, which means that I could, in theory, type in my own name, comment with a location in the text, and a profile image if I want to. And now I have another way of getting location data into the social tab, and I can click on that and show it, and it'll show a pin on the map if it finds the location based on the text. Okay, hope that helps. Yes, Sani, how's it going over there?
Yeah. Sorry, the Siri is talking back to you, so I was being very not focusing there. Okay, we have a feature request from Hansen. Have the map auto update area based on the pins on the map.
Yeah, I have been seeing Aaron do that on his streams now. So he's, if I'm understanding correctly what you're talking about, where whenever a pin is added to a location, the map will zoom into that location and then it'll zoom over to the next one. What I will say, based on what I'm seeing in his stream, is it's not, I wouldn't say working that well yet. And that's not his fault. It's purely because of how Google Maps updates the map. So there is a lot of loading happening behind the scenes of the map, and then what that results in is a really strange experience as the map moves around. So unless I can find a way of getting a huge map image in there and adding pins to that instead, and then scaling in and out of that map, which would make for a huge, it would have to be a huge image, really. I don't think I'll add that just yet. I just don't think yet it looks good enough whenever it's zooming in and out. Actually, in doesn't look so bad, but depending on the speed of your internet, if it's zooming in fast to a new area, it's trying to load in that map data as it zooms, and it ends up being more distracting than useful, I find, so far. So I might have to wait and see how that goes, because I'm not quite sure yet. Questions?
Yes, questions from Two Rails.
Nice.
Would it be possible to provide a list of locations ahead of a stream, for example, allowing the production to highlight where speakers are from rather than viewers?
Yes, it could be possible. Very good question. You know, I haven't actually tried that myself yet, but within H2R Graphics, you have a variables list or a variable text. And in theory, you could put all that location data in ahead of time, or like I showed before, adding your own comments in H2R Graphics. So you could do that 10 minutes before you go live, or however long before you go live, add in all of the locations, just like I did there a second ago. So adding a new comment, and I could say that the speaker John is from Sweden, and then have a little picture of whatever I wanted in the profile picture area, and then that would fill up that box below there. So I'd see my name, John, you'd see the location, and then you could see a picture of the speaker as well. That could look quite nice. I would head that direction, filling out all of this custom messages, custom comments before your live stream kicks off, and then you could easily show those. I'm going to jump to a few myself here just to say, Jonas saying maybe a globe as well. Yeah, I've seen some work that Jonas has done with that for sure. And good to see you as well today, John. And yeah, Google Earth could be a good way to spin around the globe instead of doing it via Google Maps. Jonas wants to know, does this work? Let's see if that works. Okay, I'll show the map again, and then we'll show Jonas's location here. I don't think that worked. Whereabouts were you at on the map? I'm guessing that didn't extract from that. I think, or not I think, I literally made this work, so I know sort of how it works. What it's doing is trying to take phrases based on, I mean, a lot of it comes down to, hey, I'm name from location. A lot of it comes down to the phrasing like that. And if it's a short enough message, then it will guess that whole thing is a location. So it's not middle of the ocean. Nice. I don't think that worked. But I could update it so it takes location data like you just pasted in there, Jonas. But I doubt that many people will want to write in their exact location like that. Nice. Okay, questions. I keep forgetting to mute your mic, by the way, so you're doing a good job of staying quiet.
Okay. We have a non-map related questions.
Okay.
From Houghton, about how you zoom in on your Mac.
It's from Charles Houghton.
Yeah, Houghton, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. Every time I do a little demo on my Mac, someone asks about how to zoom in on the Mac. It's just a keyboard shortcut built into Mac OS. And I always have to look down and see what I'm doing. Hold in Control on the keyboard, and then sort of scroll in with the trackpad. Oh, you can see me on the super source there. So I'm holding down Control on my keyboard and just 2-finger scrolling in, and it's built into Mac OS, and it lets you zoom in. They might have disabled it in a later update of the OS, so it might be a setting somewhere. But I use it all the time, and it's just built right in. So a little bit of it's actually really useful for making videos and showing live streams, and only so many times you can actually make text bigger and readable on a demo like this. So it's really handy just to zoom in and take a closer look at what's going on. Yeah. Okay, questions. Back to more questions.
Okay. Jonas has a question about, do you still know what you said in the test video that shows you talking? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's a good question actually, because that nicely segues me into my second topic of today's live stream, and we can definitely come back to any more map related questions if they come in, or other questions, of course. So one of the things I just released makes it sound very special, but I'll just pop a chat message in here as a link if you want it. Test patterns and videos. Yeah, I've just added to the chat there a new tool on the Here to Record website. So over on the website, you can always go to /tools or click on tools in the menu up there, and I have a couple of new tools in here. And actually, I was going to talk about the XML generator real quick. Let me just talk about that before I go any further. So this is for creating XML files for your web presenter and ATEM and all that good stuff. And I've had this on there for a long time now, where you can put in a profile or a platform name and a stream URL and pick a few bit rates, and then it spits out an XML file. But I just added 2 new options in there. You can add a backup URL and authentication as well to your XML file, and then it will use this data and it'll be part of the XML file. When you load it in to the web presenter, for example, you now have a backup stream URL as well. So I wanted to mention that real quickly because I just added that this weekend. But what I really wanted to show off here was this new test patterns and videos tool. I don't know if tool is the right word, but I put it in the tool section, so it's going to be a tool. And it's just a collection of little helpful videos and patterns, as the name suggests. Let me zoom in a bit here. So what I have added is all of these nodding John videos I've used over the last few years on my live streams and during reviews of videos and all that stuff. I've also added this 15 by 9, I've called it, which is the loading animation that I used to use for the start of the show here, and it's just that. It's just a full screen video. You can of course make it full screen. It loops forever, this one. So for example, on your if you're running an ATEM and you just want some feeds to go into the inputs, then you can just show this web page on full screen, and it'll just give you an image, a video image to play all day and feed into that that input. Perfect for filling monitors and all that stuff. I've also added this little feature where at the bottom here you can see video fish, and if I click on that, it's now editable. So I could say, for example, input 1, and I would connect it up to input 1 on my switcher, and now I know which input is connected. And it updates the URL bar. You can't quite see it here, but it is part of the URL. So if I refresh this page now, it does go back to that input 1. So you could go to this URL on a Raspberry Pi or something, make an update to the label that's on the URL, and then it'll always show that label in this output. That's one. And I'm going to make it back to what Jonas said in a second now, because I have these 8 videos here as well, which also have audio on them. So if I go to one, and I'm hoping this isn't so loud, but if I unmute it,
Video 5. Video 5.
you can now hear
Video 5. Video 5.
it's a repeat. Oh, it acts a bit weird now that I have it connected to my thing here, but I've just muted it so it doesn't distract me, but it does repeat the term video 5 over and over again. So you know that some audio is feeding into your system. So this is perfect for example, on a multi-view, you want to see if audio is coming in through those signals, and it's just repeating video 5, video 5, video 5 over and over again for this particular video here. But to your point earlier, Jonas, do I remember what I was saying in this when I recorded this? And yes, I do. I was rambling about H2R gear at the time. I knew that I wanted to say something during this little recording, and so what I chose to say was how I think I was just describing how H2R gear works and why you would want to use it for productions. So you can probably see me say H2R gear if you follow along. But what I decided to do was not have that part of the video. I decided to rip that out and put in me saying video X over and over again. Final 2 patterns. This one is just a little DIY color bar, so it's not really to any sort of spec. It's just some colors that I tend to use for a lot of my products and apps. And again, you can update the little label here and have it say whatever you want. So you want it to say like standby. You could use this for a production if you wanted, and cut to that some as like a just in case feed. And then I quite like this one. It is a mixture of a few things. Time of day showing up in the middle there, so it's constantly running the time of day. And you could use this for some sync tests. I think I set it up to refresh every 50 milliseconds, so it's not going to be super exact if you're wanting to use it for certain things. And then below that, you can see here is the resolution of this this picture here. So if I make it smaller or bigger, you can see that the middle the pixel count is changing there. So you could, in theory, set it up to show like that. In fact, I suppose if I made it full screen, it doesn't quite go to 1080p, which is a shame. But yeah, so you can use this just as a little reference point to see what you're up to for your monitor. Cool. Let me see. That is all of the patterns, and I will add more happily. If you have any suggestions for some that you want to see on there, maybe some looping videos that you think are missing, maybe some different angles or variation of backgrounds here on these talking heads and nodding heads. So you have the talking ones below and you have the nodding ones above, which, like the talking ones, are me just sitting there like a panelist, just listening along to a discussion and nodding my head for a minute on a loop, so you can use it forever if you want. Cool. So that's the new tool over on the H2R website. Let me see if anyone has anything here. Test videos are well done. Nice job. Thanks. These are luckily some old ones that I had lying around, so I could make this all happen pretty fast and have some fun. Eric says edit labels is cool. One of those things you don't think about until you need it. Exactly. That's what I was finding was if you were to open the same nodding John video, even if you use 4 different ones on 4 different little pies or whatever you have, you can get very lost very fast on. So without some little labels, I thought it would help a lot. How about a regular color bar? Good question. I'll think about it. I don't know if I would necessarily use this as like a way to like reference a monitor with certain colors. So that's why I wasn't so worried about using traditional color bar colors. But if there's a reason for them, then I'm listening. I'm all ears. Do we have any more questions related to that or otherwise?
Not related to the test videos,
Okay.
but we have a question about your pens from Grant Butler. Are the mini switcher pens available for purchase yet?
That is a good question, Grant. So no, they're not available for purchase yet. I'm still working on it. I'm still sort of debating where, what makes sense. Mostly, and I knew this would be the case when I got into it, as I'm wearing mine here. I knew this would be the case when I started looking into this stuff, but it's the postage that's going to get me in the long term, definitely. So it's a really tough thing to figure out is how to post small items around the world potentially. And I'm not sure if you said, Grant, or remind me where you're from, but if I looked into the postage cost of sending one of these to you, it would probably be 2 to 3 times the cost of the actual thing that you'd be paying for. So while you're checking out, it may cost you, $5 to buy the pen, but it might end up costing you $15 just to get the pen shipped to you. So some of it is what I'm trying to figure out. For some of it is how to make that available. You can buy one for X amount plus shipping if you want, but maybe you can buy 5 different ones or 5 of the same ones for your team, pay the same amount of shipping, but get much more for your money, basically. So it's not available yet, but I'm definitely trying to figure it out, and I'm more than happy to hear any thoughts on it. Yeah, Ivor's saying you get access to a secret pin store. That's not true. It could be true eventually, but that's definitely not true right now. Charles and Jonas saying you could bring them to IBC, maybe do a pop-up sale at IBC. Trouble with IBC is I don't think you're actually allowed to sell anything there. I think I would have to give them away for free if I went there with them, or have sold them in advance before you got there. And then I would be collecting money from you, hoping that you can come meet me at IBC, and then I could give you the thing. It sounds like a very dodgy deal. If they watched us walking around and me giving stuff out of my backpacks to people because they paid in advance for them. But it is very likely to happen. If nothing else, I'm fairly sure that by the time September IBC comes, and if I go there, which I'm fairly confident that I will have a few of these in my backpack, willing to give them to people, whether that's paid in advance or not, or buy me a beer afterwards, or doing it at a meetup, sure. So that could definitely be one way of doing it. But again, that's how many would I bring, and how would that even work? But I like the idea, definitely. So I will think on it some more. And if you have thoughts and you want to share them with me in the comments here or at on Discord and stuff like that, then do that. Eric saying nobody wants the NAB / IBC cops shutting down the pen transactions. Exactly. I don't want that. I don't want to get kicked out of there because I'm doing some very suspicious looking dealings. Yeah, that's true. I could go off site and we could do like a meetup some evening or afterwards or before and do that. And now we need to track the beer to pen exchange rate. That's a very good point. I don't remember how much a beer costs in IBC. It probably costs more than the delivery of the pen in most European countries anyway. I remember it not being that inexpensive. Alrighty. I think we went through most of the questions for today, which is excellent. Thank you so much for asking them. If you have any more thoughts on this stuff, Discord is the way to ask all those questions and chat about all this fun stuff between these live shows. If you want to join us for the post show, we're doing that right now. It's already happening over on Zoom, where we hang out and chit chat about this stuff. We were talking about the pins before. We talked about the map before, and we also talk about other stuff as well. You can do that by becoming a member of the channel, and you'll get a link to the Zoom call in the community tab as well. Yeah, thanks for watching. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have my credits set up, so I'm going to do that right now. Well, I thank my wife for being here and asking all the questions, as always. I appreciate that. Thanks for your help as well. And yeah, thanks to you for watching, and thanks to all of the supporters of the channel, especially the super supporters there, Jeremy, Revolutionary Lightboards, Marlon, and Jim at Cloud Bedrock as well, and all of you for being here and chatting, and I can see your face on this credit sequence. Until the next stream, I'll see you then. Bye bye.